Denizens of the Imperium and beyond. This podcast publicly has been designated as Alpha Prioris. Use your God Emperor given ears to listen to this podcast. To use any different organ will be heresy.
Okay, welcome. Welcome to this episode 2 of the War Report. Today we are broadcasting live from the Gloriana battlecruiser, known as the Eternal Crusader. We will be meeting our local French Templar, also known as Remi. So today we're introducing our hosts as usual, Mr. Nick and Mrs. Rachel, and of course, Mr. Remi. Good evening, everybody.
Hey.
Good evening, good evening. How you doing?
Hello.
Hello, Rachel.
Hello.
Oh, there you are. Well, again, we have special guest. Today is probably figured out. We are doing the Black Templars special, or Crusades special, and competition special. That's where we bring in the most competitive and the most min-maxing person I ever met in this game before. Also, team captain of the Team Soul, aka we are Invictus. Yes, you heard that right, Nick. We are still beating you. Team Soul still better than Sondo. And Remi, welcome to the
Thank you for having me. And may I say, for the Emperor, you filthy heretics.
Just saying, you're jealous. We are one of the founding legions. Blood Angels represent.
That's right.
You're just jealous. We were there. We were there the day the Emperor fell.
Good grief, no. Well, pretty soon we're just catching up. Remi, I know you've been playing for a long time, but just catching up, any games this past week? I know the league is happening. So any comments on any games you guys as well? Rachel, Nick?
Yeah, so I did league games. Yes, this past was it Sunday? I played against two new people I never met before, Mr. Martin and Mr. Hemin. It was very nice, nice meeting them.
Oh yeah,
yes.
They are the new players from
Correct.
the.
Yeah, it was really good to have Korean players in front of me instead of your normal. Western crowd, so it was very good to have local heretics instead of overseas heretics.
Hey, I played last weekend, and there was a non-heretic Korean player up at the
yes,
top.
Yes, I know him.
There was a Black Templar player.
Yes, I know him. He's a very nice guy.
Yeah, of course you do.
Oh,
I feel
great
like
guy.
you have like
Great guy.
a telepathic
Yeah,
sense
I sent a photo of him.
of other.
I love that guy. Yeah.
Of other Templar players. I feel like you can just feel them in the area.
Yes, yeah, we
You're like,
have a
there's
beacon.
someone crusading nearby.
True. He's in charge of.
He
was in charge of Old Dice. I was in charge of Benny's place. We split the purge.
You're the Emperor's champion for Benny's place.
No, I'm the High Marshal of Korea. Okay, let's get that straight.
There it is.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
The modesty was someone dropped his modesty. Got it.
Does that make Suhun our Primarch?
Yeah, Chaos one.
What? No way.
But I played on Sunday. I the three of us played.
That was a.
I played until Mortal abandoned me.
I got to finally use the bloodletter bomb that I love.
Oh, but I got to learn.
I threw 20 bloodletters at Rachel's infiltrators that got a little too close.
Just a heads up, Rachel. Oh, I'm gonna play 40k again in a long time. What's gonna be my first game? Oh, I'm just gonna 3d6 charge with 20 bloodletters.
Hey,
Die.
I asked for something unfair. I asked for something that would shake me into a violent reawakening into my 40k career.
But
because I figured if I lost to you guys last weekend, then it wouldn't hurt nearly as bad when I lose this weekend in the tournament as well.
See, but
because I've already felt the sting of defeat.
But that is the true way to learn. And here, Remi is here as my witness and my exterminatus person, because every time I want to taste the list and say, "Hey, Remi, can you exterminatus my lists?" And he just says with pleasure, and then he proceeds to destroy my list, as I mentioned before.
Yeah. Hey, I learned a lot. I learned that Blade Guard veterans have pistols that they can fire in close combat, and I'm never going to forget that ever again.
It lost her the game. She lost by 4 points. And 5 of them was because
points.
My to the last 2 horrors survived.
2. I had
I feel you, Rachel.
I had 4 Blade Guard veterans and a sanguinary priest over there rezzing the Blade Guard veterans every turn. It was hot garbage. It was terrible.
I admit that your game against me was not very fun. At least not.
It wasn't fun, but it definitely I like seeing. I don't mind losing games, especially when it's something that I sit down and I talk with the person that I'm playing about, like, why I lose games. You know, it's exposing weaknesses in my lists and my play styles, and it's like it's helping me learn. I don't think you learn a lot by winning every game. I think you learn much more by losing games, especially if you have an opponent that helps you understand why you lost.
Yeah, I remember my first tournament. I will always say I got Justin, Suhun, and Remi in the same day. I had been in the country like 3 weeks, freshly built Blood Angels army, and I got those 3.
Wow!
And two of those weeks were actually inside your own tiny apartment, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
He was being catfished.
And well, as I say, Remi pointed out, he's like, "Here's what you should have done. Don't do this against Black Templars. Don't do this." And he later regretted it because the very next game I came back and won.
Yeah, that was amazing, man. It was really good.
Our favorite memory of that is Luke walks in. Are you winning, son? Get out.
I remember going to the room where you were playing, and you just said, "Hey, Remi, what's up?" I said, "Get out." Okay.
Yeah, it's not for the state of the game. To be fair, it's more that you might have heard I'm a very slow player. So when it's the end of the game, every single 10 seconds matter, because it's a decision you have to make, it's an action you have to make, and then that snowball into victory point, decisive victory point, very quickly.
Yes, indeed.
Right.
But overall, Remi, about the games you played this weekend, any comments? I think it was the first time you were testing the new codex. Well, it was the first new game with codex.
Yes,
yeah,
correct. It was my first codex testing. It went very, very well. We can talk about the detail of the codex a bit later, but yeah, I'm happy with what we have. And anyway, even if I wasn't, that's what we have anyway.
Do you have the new Hellbrecht model yet?
No, it's not out.
Oh, it's not yet?
Yes, I have a acceptable proxy instead.
Do you know what I want to do with that Hellbrecht model? I want to get the guy that's cleaning Hellbrecht's sword, but I want to put it on the Sanguinor and have him cleaning the Sanguinor's golden axe.
That's amazing.
It is very cute though.
As another Blood Angel player, I fully support this plan. I think it's an amazing plan.
This is now your circle jar cleaning the Blood Angels. But overall, besides that, besides the games we had, I know we had the painting competition last week. I think it was second edition was the competition, right? We had the first one was the.
It was so we finished the second iteration of the competition, and then we just started also the third one, which we will end just before Christmas.
Yeah, we will be. I think we will try to put some of the images on the competition. But so far we have 2 events. The first one was a Korea theme event, which
correct.
I'm not trying to be biased, but I legit loved the banner and voted for the banner because I really like the banner you did there. Followed by the orc.
Thanks.
But the second one was tough. The second one was tough. There was too many entries. A lot of people joined the second one. Yeah,
so first one we had 5 entries. It was very nice, very good start. Then so as you said, the theme was Korea. So anything Korea, of course, memes okay, but offensive stuffs are not, as usual. So yeah, we had about, I'd say, 10 people interested, and in the end, with the live schedule, things happen. We had 5 entries overall. I was very happy with that. It was a good turnout for the first event, and we had 20 plus votes, voting people. So it was very good. And congrats to Suhun for winning that first event. It was well deserved. His model was very good. And thanks for everyone that joined that first competition. And the second one, we was so by popular vote, the theme was 3 color. So it was, the name was random. So I basically randomly assigned to everyone interested three color out of 10, plus black and white for everyone. And then you could you couldn't mix those 3 colors among themselves. You could, however, mix them with black and white, and you had to have those 3 color on your model. The amount you had was up to you, but that was a limitation, and you couldn't, basically create new colors or things like this. And
so you could only use variations on the same
yes,
song,
right.
basically.
You use the color palette. You can find those on Google very easily. So it was a good inspiration, and it went very, very well. We had about, I'd say, 15 people, less than 15. I forgot exactly the exact number.
Yeah, no, it was
interested.
more than 10, definitely.
And then we had at the end we had eight people submitting pictures, and those were really, really nice. I'm really, really happy everyone took some time to do that. It was very good. So I really want to thank every single one of our member that participated. It means a lot when you organize those, and then also you see those amazing work within the boundary of the limits that are set for the participants. It's really nice. And of course, special shout out to Rachel for winning that second competition, just entering
Thank
3
you.
days prior to the cutoff date. Good job.
It was really challenging, and I'm really thankful for that theme, I guess, because it really challenged me to paint something that was not red, black, or gold. And hey, Remi with all of his Black Templars, I think he can understand. But it taught me a lot about what I like to do, like technique-wise. It taught me a lot about how I want my army to look, because I'm still in the process of painting my army, and this tournament coming up this weekend is doing a lot to motivate me to paint my army and get a coherent scheme. And it's something that we talked about in the painting episode, to get my guys ready for the table, but not necessarily like obscenely detailed parade ready, you know?
Mhm.
It's definitely helped a lot. So that competition, thank you so much for putting that on. That was super fun to be a part of, and I'm really glad that people like my work.
Yeah, and now I think we have the third iteration of the contest is actually running right now.
Correct. Yes, it started last week. I'm losing track of time. What's for sure, it's ending.
It was
It's ending
last
on the
week,
week just before Christmas. And a surprise! The theme is, of course, Christmas. So, Rachel, you said you're tired of painting red, black, and gold. Well, too bad.
Hey,
You're gonna play
Look,
red,
I'm
black,
never-
green, and
Just-
gold.
I'm
I
never
think-
gonna, pass up an opportunity to join a painting competition. And, it is, as Blood Angels, it is Sanguinala. It is our holiday. So
I speak
I'm not
I
gonna
speak for
complain.
the war report that your victory, Rachel, is our victory. So war report, one of us,
Our
our
victory.
victory.
Our victory, our victory.
So
I
when
even
you
As-
won, we all won.
As four
Absolutely.
nurglings in a trench coat,
Yep,
it is our victory.
our victory. I even have the sketch for what I want to do for the competition hanging up on my wall right now. I've already got something planned, and I'm really excited
Yeah.
to get started on
I'm
it.
waiting for some honors to do on my stuff as well for this competition. I want to do it because I've been skipping the other two because I got my issues, but I want to, challenge myself like everybody mentioned. And I
Your
hopefully...
issues is impulse buying a Dominion box.
Shush, shush. We don't talk about here. Don't say it in front of him.
Do it.
Don't say it in front of him.
Do
No,
it.
No. No.
Do it.
Do it!
No.
Do it!
Okay, yeah.
Trademark.
Yeah, true. Pretty much true. Now I want to try. I'm just working on trying to figure out how to make the color I want to do and the effects I want to do. So that's the thing. But overall, yeah. What I think one of the things that got me the laugh the most, besides the painting jobs and everything, is just the way they introduce some of these events, especially the second one, the Exterminatus Prime, calling the Paintabots. That still, after this day, still holds in my head.
We laughed
That's funny.
so hard when we saw that.
Yeah.
Exterminatus Prime.
Yeah, I don't know.
Also, Remi, it was
Yeah.
you
Yes.
that casually painted an entire Primarch for that
Yes,
challenge,
it is me.
right? Casually
Casually praised for
Rogan.
it.
I just
Casually.
painted the only non-heretic Primarch. There was only one choice.
Hey.
Hey, yes. Hey to you too. Yes.
The golden
Hey.
boy didn't die and break Rogel's heart for this.
Sanguinius died for your sins, okay?
I just heard Sanguinius died. End of story.
Ooh.
Hey,
I like
where's
this.
your Primarch?
I like
Where's your Primarch?
I don't
Remy?
know. I don't need a Primarch. I have a
Exactly.
10,000 crazy crusader. I mean 1,000.
So yeah, definitely you don't have a 10,000 now. Redacted. Cut that. Cut out.
Let's just stop
This term has not.
the podcast right now.
Shh.
Stop.
keep Gilliman away from this, guys. Wait, are you saying that the Black Templars are not Codex Astartes compliant? No way.
I mean, as per the rule, we do follow
Well, the
the
book-
Codex Space Marine, so there is that.
I mean, I just gotta say, the thing is, books just don't make great melee weapons.
That
That's our
okay, so
problem here.
that's not entirely
debatable.
true. Have you ever tried wrapping it in chain and then flailing it at your enemy? That works pretty well.
That's what the.
I hear Grimaldus
Yeah.
tries that. Didn't he like hit somebody with a book?
Oh, Grimaldus
once?
had a whole building fall on him, and he woke out of it. So you know.
You know, yeah, they're like, wow, it's really cool. Mephiston did this. Well, we got to give the Black Templars something. So make a
okay.
building fall on their guy too.
Oh.
A building versus an entire hive city? I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Was it an entire hive city? I'm
It was
rusty.
like a whole hive
They're flexing you
spire.
hear the story here, man.
It was a cliff cathedral, yeah.
I mean, anyway, it's all lore stuff. I made my own lore.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Oh.
This is true. This
Really?
is
Here's the
true.
reason why we all heretics.
See, I'm the new one, so I don't know the Remi lore.
The Remi lore, everyone is an heretic except Black Templars, and as far as I see, no one is a Black Templar here. So you know.
I have a question. Since we're on the topic of your lore, what about your Tau?
My what?
Your Tau.
Oh, my Black Templar conscripts from another galaxy that are spreading the words of the Emperor. Yeah, they're fine. They're fine. I'm waiting for January for the Codex to come to touch them, because I don't know what's gonna work. But yeah, I have about 4,000 points, and I have played only one single game with them, and I'm fine with it.
Oh, interesting. So they're conscripts. Very interesting.
You're working with Xenos.
You know, I found a really funny comic the other day that reminded me of you. It was a Space Marine in like a Tau color scheme, and it said, "For the greater Emperor," not the Emperor, but good job. I was like, that is Remi for the greater Emperor.
I mean, Empire, Imperium of Men. You know, it's a fairly similar approach to the old expansion thing.
Just look for the faction keywords.
If you don't-
Imperium, Empire, there you go.
If you don't agree, you get capped. That's how it works. Don't make the rules. Fall in line or get shot.
I see you've read my lore.
See?
Yeah, I was gonna say I've experienced the business end of your lore. Let's be honest here.
We'll be in there. But overall,
Oh yeah, it's
I don't think I
It
ever
hurts.
faced of course Rachel being a new member. I haven't faced you. I don't think I have faced Rock, your other host, either. So I'm looking forward to meet you two
You
guys
haven't
on
played
the
against-
table. No, I haven't
haven't
played
played
Rock.
Rock?
No.
Same. I've never played against Black Templars yet, so that's exciting.
don't
for
worry.
me.
You'll be Persian time, as everybody.
yeah.
You'll regret your excitement
We,
soon enough.
Oof.
I relish the
Mhm.
chance to have a new opponent. So
Let's say you underestimate my gluttony for pain. So just saying. I was gonna say I asked you to play a game. You're like, I don't know. I have a family and I have things and adult responsibilities.
Well, that doesn't sound like me.
But no, I was gonna say, I know, because right now everyone's just really busy with the league, and it's hard to get games in right now that are not league because everyone's like, oh no, my one free weekend to play, I gotta go play my
Yeah,
league
of
games.
Yeah. And we're trying to get into also the Korean community because we suddenly just got hooked with the campaign running, and like, oh god, so many games, so little time. I had to run all this stuff at the same time. Good grief.
Yeah, because I'm also I'm in the Korean Crusade, the league, and I'm start doing a Age of Sigmar event to try and get some of the local players and expat players together to play some Sigmar. So
Sounds a challenge.
Yeah, it's wearing a lot of hats.
Right. It's a good thing for the community, especially with the Age of Sigmar case. But that's pretty much the part for the bantering. I think it's time for us to move on. And now the focus is on the Marshal over here, Mr. Remi. Got a few little questions, if you wouldn't mind answering, of course. Because we'll have this joke running with Nick that we have our, let's say, 40k like father figures. You're gonna 40k dads, people who picked up us, and like basically we are learning from them. And we both shared Justin at the beginning, like how it started, but then after we became partners during the team event, basically I look up to you and a lot of things. I want to do this, how to approach this, how to go to the games and so on and learn trends. But that's because experience. So the question, how long you've been playing 40k?
All right. Well, that 40k. It started in 1996. I was 11-year-old. I didn't start playing right away. Of course, at this age, you don't have money for yourself, pretty much. But we were in a family trip I remember that very vividly. And if my family member listen to this, they'll know what I'm talking about. We were in Strasbourg in Alsace, in the northeast region of France. A beautiful country. I highly recommend visiting. And we were visiting one of the whole city. The main thing is a cathedral, and we just walk around the cathedral. And would you get it? Would you guess it? There is a Games Workshop store right there, and on those Games Workshop store, they have those models painted beautifully, dioramas and stuff. Put it on the front to obviously attract people, and it worked like 100%. I got it's like they were outside with the fishing pole, and they just threw the hook right at my face. So I of course asked my parents, okay, let's get in. It's really nice. I got these free booklet they gave at the time for promoting the new material. And that was the end of it. So I just had that small booklet. I realized after coming back home, there was those White Dwarf magazines in French, obviously, that were available. So I started buying a couple with my allowance, and and then slowly one day it was 2 years later in 1998. That's when third edition 40k came out with that beautiful John Blanche art, and that big box came out. The White Dwarf, so it was White Dwarf 54 exactly, that came with the free Dark Eldar mini, and that had also the same artwork. And I bought that White Dwarf, and I asked my parents to get that third edition box for Christmas, which was, as many of you must know, Space Marines versus Dark Eldar in a completely unbalanced 20 Dark Eldar against 10 Space Marines plus 1 Lance Speeder. Super balanced, but it was a beginning of it all. And then with my brother, of course, shout out to you, Simon. And he got the Space Marine bit. I got the Dark Eldar, and yes, I did start with Dark Eldar, and that's how we grew. We started just together and not knowing the role. Just it was just playing Lego with extra steps, I guess. And so
right.
That's how I'm going to describe 40k from now on. It's just Lego with extra steps.
And so also after growing up, like in the end of middle school, beginning of high school, some friends in my class were interested in 40k, so we started also playing a bit together. Move on to uni, where my interest shifted to other tabletop game, and then I didn't really play much, but I always look at those models, the Golden Demon results competition, because amazing work came out from there all the time. Buying the odd White Dwarf here and there, and then when I moved to Korea, and in 2017 when my daughter was born, we came back to France for visiting the family, and I found some old Black Templar that I didn't sold back in the day, and then I was like, well, sure, I'll bring a couple back home to restart the collection slowly, paint a bit. It's fun. And 1 year later, Christoph, our friend Christoph, also who was a long time 40k player when he was younger, we started getting a couple of models from parents' house, and starting getting some games together, and here I am. 2011 with 12,000 points of Black Templar and 4,000 points of Tau.
Wow.
Wow, no, I'm just impressed. It's a long story from the early ages of Warhammer to now.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
I remember we found that book. I found that book at Demetrius's place. Oddly enough, like the same day you sent a picture of it in French in the chat, I found an actual one down in Pyeongtaek. We found one
in the stash.
So
the treasure trove?
Yeah, in that trove that Demetrius has, we found a 3rd edition. I'm like, I wonder what edition this is, and you happened to send the book that day, and I'm like, oh. It's 3rd edition.
And that book is not a random picture from the internet. It is the book I have right next to me in my home in Korea, even though it's fairly useless. But I've been carrying this one over because I remind that cover art and the content of that book so fondly. For me, it was the beginning of everything for 40k related.
I still have my 7th edition rulebook and my original 7th edition Necron Codex, so I understand that
7th edition.
A few editions after you started, but
hey, I'm over here.
Right.
I started in 9th, so I'm over here with my current codex, which is the only codex that I have. So.
No time than the present.
Right, right.
Yeah, I started 8th edition, late edition, with some. I played like 4 games of 8th edition, and then it was 9th edition here. But since we're mentioning this thing here, Remi, you are known to be competitive in a good and in all sense of the word. You were this competitive as too when you were like growing up playing with your friends, or you were just like more casually playing for the fluff, or just like, oh, I'm gonna destroy you on the table like you normally do right now.
Yeah, as I was trying to hint at, we didn't really know how the rules were working, so yeah, we wanted to bash each other as hard as possible with whatever toy we had available, and that's what we did, and we had a great time. But at that time, Warhammer for me was buying models, building them, never painting them, and playing with my friend. And that was the whole hobby, and it was great. But so that you're on the competitive aspect of things. That's something that came later as I you play more skirmish games. So I was playing Confrontation, and later Dog of War, which is from Rackham, a French gaming company, which is no longer exists, I think. But I think Confrontation is a fairly popular, at least back in the day, brand, and it's a very good game. Metal minis. It's a skirmish game, and then you focus more on the individual action, and that taught me that that's kind of soon with his Horde and the War Machine. Like you have this. You have less things to focus on, and the rule set makes it so that it's really more brutal, less forgiving, and things like this. I don't think Confrontation is as brutal as what Soon mentioned in the podcast, but that's just to illustrate the purpose. And then playing online games, whether it's a RTS, it's shooting first person shooters, or of course MMORPGs. I realize that I'm someone that's just my character. I get really invested in what I'm doing, so I can't do it halfway. It's either I do it or I do not. And it has obviously lots of ups when you play it, but it also has lots of downs on the side. So I'm aware of that, and I'm working on it. But like, for instance, for the 40K, as you pointed out before, I have a family, but it doesn't mean that I don't want to enjoy the game in a competitive manner. So it means every single game I play, it has to be for me to improve something. It's not about, I know you might disagree with that, but it's not about crushing the opponent. It's not about winning at all cost. It's about doing the best with the tools you're giving, and you're given.
Right.
Sorry, and I've run with the Black Templar for almost 2 years now. And at the very beginning, when it was just Christophe and I, he destroyed me because we were two melee army. And then I was like, okay, let's just throw each other, our models at each other. And yeah, Space Wolf, when you do that, are way more powerful. So I realized that I was not going to win in melee. So I shift to shooting Templar. And it works really well for all the 8th edition. And then when 8th edition came in, I adapted. And then that's what I like. I tried to make the best with the tools I had at my disposal. And even until a couple of weeks ago, when the Templar book got pre-released, my Black Templar rule were basically 6 pages of free PDF from Games Workshop, which is great because nobody had free rules except us, basically, and yet it was enough to make it do. Like, all the games I had against you guys was with this rule set, and even though it was not as extensive and not as much option as like the supplements from White Scar or Ultramarine, I did my best to stay on track and keep my focus. And that's what competitive is. It's regardless what you have, trying to do the best, trying to find a play style that accommodates you. And you will hear that from the famous and very successful streamers and YouTube personalities, and it's 100% true. You have to find yourself when you play.
And since we are at just to build a nail on that, is the fact that you stick to Templars, and ever since we started doing ITC this year, you've been the top 5 Templars of the world in ITC, and that shows you how little the faction has been playing, and the fact you still stick to it, and the amount of games you've played is still enough to hold you up. And if I remember, you were number 3 on the world for a day.
Yes, for a single day, and it was on. I remember very vividly. It was on June 12th. It's the exact same day where Sasha Edelkraut got his huge placing on. I forgot the tournament. There is so many, but shout out to him. He's a great player. And then, because of time difference in the US and Korea, we played on the same day technically, but my BCP of the day, that was the tournament I won. Like, that's the first tournament I finished first place, so I was very happy of it. And then the result of that, when you come home, is you check the ITC ranking and you see, oh, you're number 3 for Templars. Like, oh yeah, that's super great. And then the next day you check, it's like you're number 5. Whoa, what happened? Oh yeah, okay, Sasha Edelkraut. Well, I mean, yes, sure.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
How many Templar players were in the list? Because, like, sorry, Christophe, I know you will never hear the end of this. Yes, Remi was top 5 Templar in the world, and there is nothing to change or stop you.
No, I mean,
yes.
I'm just, I don't really. Of course, I like everyone, when you have a ranking system and stuff. It's very nice to compare yourself, but it's not like the be all end all of everything. And as you say, like, me being currently number 4, it doesn't mean I'm an amazing player. It means 2 things. It means, number 1, as you said, there is not a lot of people playing competitive Templar overall, and or at least a placing. And number 2, it also means the ITC point system doesn't really care whether your community is a very experienced and a huge community like in the US, or a very small and beginning community like here. So all my score is based on like RTT points, which are 8 people RTTs. It has absolutely not the same value in terms of experience, player skill, and so on, that people that are lower than me on that ITC ranking, that do play in a way bigger event, in majors, in in GTs and stuff. And those people have actual more knowledge and experience compared to me, because they do play against those, really, really big name.
Big events with metalists, with all the metalists. You don't face one guy playing Drukhari like we do here. You play
and then
20 Drukhari.
Nobody, and then in our meta, nobody really plays Drukhari at events. I faced Drukhari only once on that June RTT on the final, which I beat. But it's the same for AdMech. Like in tournament, I faced AdMech only once. Orc buggy list, which is all the craze right now. I've never faced it. So as I said, it's not a fair representation. I'm still very happy about it, and Christoph, as you say, will never hear the end of it. But it's just for teasing him.
Sorry,
and it doesn't really, it's not the be all end all.
Well, I mean, you're better than I am. You're just like, man, I'm losing. I need to just improve my play. I'm like, what do you mean I can't run into you in melee? Fine, I'm going to build an army with better melee than you.
Well, that works. I thought
you were going to say, I'm losing, and then my blood drum dies. But never mind. Go.
I was gonna say, no, if I start losing, see, Remi has imparted this onto me, is I use my 3-piece CV strat where I throw my dice at your bloat drone and I win.
So that's where you pick it up. So it was you, Remi.
Yeah.
It was you who taught me throw the orbital hammer on top of your
I
arms
always
and
told
destroy
you,
your models.
if you cannot play the game, play the player. Right?
Exactly.
Don't do this at home, children. It's not the right way to play.
I was say there's genuine fear whenever Remi and I take a table together, because it's two very passionate, very loud players, and it's just like, this is going to be an absolute slugging match, and it's going to be hilarious to watch. But newer players, I think, would be rather intimidated watching the two of us go at it.
I want to see
We
it
both
now.
are very passionate players.
I agree most of your comments, and it's nice view the way you see that. Okay, the community is growing, and things are changing. But honestly, I'm looking forward to the changes that were happening right now with the new codexes. Especially now, you don't have, it's no longer 3 pages of a PDF file. Now you actually have let's say a proper book. You want to put it away, because it's a supplement.
Well, if I hit you with it, you'll know it's a book. Yeah, I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, I will definitely know with it here.
Still gonna take D3 plus 3 on that one.
Without the
You're gonna need an apothecary for that.
I've got apothecaries.
Well, and since you just mentioned that you came all the way back to Korea, you brought some miniatures, and you've been playing with Christoph that I think you were acquaintances before that. How did you end up finding the 40K community? Because I mentioned how we found each other, at least with Justin, Sue, and Bill back in the day. But one day it's like suddenly, hey, I'm Remi, and like, oh, okay. And then I go to play and say, hey, I'm Remi, and like, oh, okay. So how did it happen? Because I don't remember the day you joined.
Right. So first off, yes, I know Christoph from way back. We've known each other for about 10 years. He was one of the first person I met when I came to Korea, and we are basically stuck with each other. And then we've been playing, as I said, since about 2018, 2019 together, and in October 2020, a bit over a year from now, he just messaged me and say, hey, I found this 40K English community. What do you think? Should we join? We can expand our play group and stuff, instead of just facing each other. We were like, yeah, are you sure? And okay, sure. Let's give it a try. So that's when we joined, and I didn't really interact at the beginning. It was just mostly like saying hello and then seeing the mood. And one day in December, Sue offered to have a tournament, 1,000 point at his house, as he does. Very nice gentleman. That without him, the community wouldn't be in the great place it is now, for sure. Shout out to you, man. And yeah, I joined with Christoph. We both joined, and it was great. It was my first experience also to face the Macarons, those magnificent beasts. So that was also very interesting. And then I realized, okay, so that's also 40k, very interesting. And it just made me wanna build so that I could handle all those kinds of lists. And that was the very first my very first experience with competitive. And well, as you know well by now, not my last.
No.
And
I remember that. I remember that tournament. That's when I met you the first time. I also met Sam that day. He was a Dance Watch player. Shout out to Sam. We miss you. I think I met almost the
Bill was
the original
there.
gang.
Yes, correct. Like Bill was there. Sue was there. Justin was there. Yeah, correct.
The early days of Corona when things were not as crazy.
I think James also joined that event. I'm not sure he was able to stay the whole time. James Bowers.
I think he was early, but he had to leave.
Yes, correct. I do seem to recall that.
Yeah, and I just find it interesting the fact that you joined the community and you said it that you were not very into the community at the beginning, you were not interacting, and now you're not only a moderator in the chat, of course, but you're also leading the paint competitions and events here.
Well, yeah, so it's my way to.
How do you go from that stuff?
Yeah, it's my way to make the community alive, because Sue is great. He's doing all those events and stuff, and I love it. And then all the hobby side, we share pictures among each others, and then I like Justin, another of our veteran member, started the league, which we talked about before, which is also really good, but it's also a gameplay related topic. So I thought to myself, okay, I play, and I'm gonna echo what Rachel mentioned off camera, let's say, before, that I love playing painting Templars and playing Templars, but it's always the same color scheme, and I kind of want an excuse to paint something else. And at the same time, I was like, okay, well, I have this idea of a model, but I don't really have really a reason to paint this model. And then I thought, okay, we don't really have a hobby side of the community right now, so why not making some kind of painting competition or something? So I asked privately to a couple of the guys in the chat, hey guys, I have this idea, what do you think? That's my first idea. What if I do the message like this? I got some good feedback on that, and then it basically was just that. Like I just one day I was like, okay, well then let's just do this. If you don't send the message, it's never gonna happen. So I just sent a message, and then it was quite a positive feedback. I was very, very happy. I didn't really mind at the time, like if no one joined. I hoped with the initial interest, people would join, of course. But I was like, it was more a shot in the dark, let's say, and yeah, like do and learn approach. So I was very happy how it turned out.
Great. And since you
right. And,
sorry. You want to ask a question, Nick?
Something I wanted to jump on just because it has to do with painting. I recalled just while you're talking, Remi, the first time we met, I came to play Crusade against Luke with Luke and Sam, and I was with Bill. And you looked at my Golden Boys and said, why didn't you put some Seraphim Sepia on that?
Oof.
And all of my Sanguinary Guard are like this beautiful old gold color, because some guy looked at me, he's like, you should try this.
Hey, kid.
And then it ended up working. I just think it's funny that you now run the painting competition, and the first thing you ever said to me was painting advice. It's very ironic.
I think the first thing that Remi said to me is that you're a heretic.
Yeah, I can guarantee you some will find that.
This was after the traditional greeting.
Okay.
The traditional greeting.
As is custom.
Yes. There's a mandatory greeting. Yeah, I've greeted people on the chat like this. I don't do that anymore because I think
it's
a bit
Korean players who
so
don't
I'm
understand that.
waiting for
Right.
other
Oh
occasions
no.
now. Yeah.
Just wait until.
Yeah. And we
just
we have seen a player joining. Hello, hello. This is Heresy, and then player leaving. Okay, I'm gonna tone it down.
No, it has nothing to do with that. I've seen people joining and say,
True,
"Hello, friend.
however-
do you play 40k?" And then the guy just leaves. Like,
Yes,
okay,
yeah.
rude.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Still.
and,
Yeah.
for both sides. No need to scare them with the
Yeah.
heresy.
Let's not be too hasty into purging. You know, the
you
time will
will get
come.
to purge them
The time will
eventually.
come.
Don't worry. But since we're mentioning just quickly the last thing, my last question about the competition is: you organize the competition, but you also take part of them. That's why I mentioned and I was trying not to be biased, but I did really like their banner guy on the first event. How you do not, wink, wink. I know the owner. Wink.
Yeah, good question. So I'm running the competition because I want to paint different things than just my army. I don't have a lot of time to hobby, and the time I do hobbying is not time I do something else with my family. So you have to be very selective on your hobby. So I'm playing Templar. I cannot really play like 10 armies. So that's the one I'm playing. Thus, that's the one I'm painting. And if I want to paint something else, that's good way for me to do so. So I really want to participate in those competitions, especially putting limits. I find it fosters creativity. So how do I remain unbiased? Well, I do compete, but I do not vote because otherwise, I know already who is leading, and then I'm gonna say, okay, well, I'm not gonna vote for that guy because if I vote for that guy, it's gonna give him point, and I don't do that. So I just don't vote at all, and then I let people do the voting. I use a very simple Google form. So as per Sue suggested, he being a teacher, he has much more experience in this kind of feedback forms and things. So it works very well. It's a very very limited architecture, but it's enough for what we are doing, and it's very easy to gather the feedbacks. And you have like the result tab show you very easily, very graphic account of every vote there is, and then I just put that then in an Excel file where I put a point multiplier. So for instance, in the last event, there was 3 things to vote for. The first one was who's the number 1. The second question is who's the number 2. Of course, you cannot put the same as number 1. And the third one was which 2 models, except the 2 you already voted for, you think would deserve a third place or as the next 2 best. And then I take every vote on the this is my number 1 choice, count for 3 points. Every for like times 3. Every vote that is for the second place counts times 2. And every vote that is on the best after that count as 1 point, and then you basically tally all those points, and the final score is the winner. And if you have a draw, it's the one with the highest number of the first vote that wins. Then after the tiebreaker is a second, and so on. So that's how I do.
It's definitely hard to stay unbiased because I think out of the 8 competition pieces we had, my hand was in 5 of them. So I basically knew who everyone belonged to because I either took pictures or did
for the pictures, right?
Or did
take the photos.
After I did some post work on 5 of Bill's, yours, Sue's, Justin's, mine. Yeah. Which I mean, I have to thank you for this painting competition because it's really gotten me out there doing the photography. So, as Suhun has said, he has declared me our group, the 40 Korea photographer now. That is my lot in life at events. I'm probably going to now be showing up with my camera.
Very good. Your pictures look great.
No, that's good. That's good, man. That's good.
Yes.
Hopefully we get some good photos.
And you do you have very good setup, very good material, like the photo you took of my model for the first competition, man, it's amazing. It's really
I love that photo so much. That one, the one of the back of that model, Suhun's orc that won, and then a picture of Justin's Magnus. Those are probably my 3 favorites of all time.
Yeah, Justin's Magnus is really cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, since you just mentioned like literally the 3 people, let's talk about the painting in general, because like when Nick said we have this sort of let's call it tier list of people we played in Korea. Yes, we are players and we're very petty players most of the time, and we hold grudges, especially me.
Says the man that says I don't like ranking
not because
people,
I want to,
as I made a tier list.
But now I do. It grew on me. I don't like ranking people. Now it grew on me.
The tier list is a good idea.
Now it grew on me.
S rank.
So who's S people? Who's S people? Look, A people.
No, we have no. We have like the big 3. That's a reference. That's a reference to something Hero Academia picked up. Which is like basically the 3 people that you need to beat at least once just to say, okay, I'm improving. Which is it will be Justin, Sue, and you. And at the moment, I am 2 out of 3 on the block on the Deadpool.
I'm 1 in 3, but
I already
unfortunately,
made it
Ryan
fun
got around to playing Justin more often. He had to go and have a daughter who is adorable in every way. Love that kid.
Shame on him. So, what do you think about of us? Just because every time we say big 3 as a joke of ranking, but it's not a joke that every time there's a tournament, it's always you or Sue, you Justin, or Sue and Justin. They're always the same pattern. Just the 3 same people always on the top 2, happening in every single tournament.
Well, I mean, it's very easy. The tournament is rigged.
Oh, perfectly. That's the answer I was looking for. I knew it. I knew it all along.
Well, see, the thing is, I have never topped a tournament. I've never won because either you, Sue, or Justin have always been in them, and I always go 2-1, and I place 2nd or 3rd every time. Oh, well, since I switched armies, I've been placing 2nd or 3rd in all our events.
Is very difficult in events because you will have a lot of people. You will have just the one person. We're doing 8 people RTTs over 1 day, so it means 3 games in total. That means you can have, of course, maximum 1 person going undefeated, and you can have nobody going undefeated. We had event where that happened. So you have a lot of players with a 2-1 record, and those players it would be 3 about 3 players on average, 3-4 players with a 2-1 record. How do you, with this record, how do you go? Because you can be between 2nd to 5th place, of course. What's the difference in that? It's your victory point. So management of every single victory point in your game. That's where success lies. Whether your game is a lost game or a wash in terms of wins, every single point you make place you closer to be 1 rank higher than the other. If ranking, improving your rank is what is important, and you can see it a lot in the recent event we had. The difference between, so Sue came first, congrats to him. I came second. I think Luke, you were third, if I recall, and we had like exactly. 5 point difference. 5 point difference
in second,
and and then that 5 point difference. If I haven't done that one small thing over here on that game, that one small thing over there on that game. On the first game, I faced Sue that went on winning. If I had just like gave up in the middle of the game and say, okay, like let's just go off the objective and whatnot, then right. Those 5 points I would not have had those.
Same with me. If I hadn't done something
and
different.
That's the key. That's the key in improving. It's not about winning the tournament. It's about, as I said before, it's really about doing the best with the situation you're faced with. You're in losing position. Okay, fine. Take the loss. However, take the most minimal loss as possible. Try to get as much point as you can, because that can very be
whenever Luke and I were in a
tournament
tournament together. I beat him by only a handful of points, and the only reason was we both had Sue that round, and I ended up taking 70 points off of him in a loss, and Luke took like 50 because I had a ton of obsec. So I literally there's this beautiful picture that we have of me charging 5 demonettes at a Biotitan to hold it.
That's beautiful.
They survived the charge too. Go demon invulns. But and
that happened last game.
Yeah, it was really funny, but literally it was because basically I just had more obsec than Luke's list naturally do, so he had a harder time clearing me out off the board.
I fumbled and I got really the first 2 games are great on points. The last one I just dropped to 50. And you had a fantastic last game, Remi. You had like 100 points against the Space Wolves that tournament. Literally perfect 100. So that's a huge boost.
Yeah, that was the same tournament I perfect gamed Rock, and I got my 100 points that round too. And that's a big reason I won, is I pulled 100 points in the last round.
Okay. Well, we already talk a little bit of everything in terms of the game, and since we're at it, mostly I want to know some of your opinions about the new book, because I'm used to the way you play at the moment, because we've been playing for many matches together, so I know your gimmicks, your devout push, surprise bomb, like getting there, like I got you moments. But what the thoughts about the last supplement? Just to close it up, what is your comments about the new book now you're tested?
Okay. All right. So, bless the Emperor for having finally a book after 21 years of waiting. Oh, we have been patient, and you have rewarded us with this magnificent piece of art that I now hold in my hand. It's glorious. There is no other words. Like in terms of artwork, the amount of effort that was put into it, the amount of nostalgia, just looking at that picture, like the no edge they did on this, it's just beautiful. There is no other word for it. What's inside the book? It's like everything. There is a bit of there are hit and misses, but overall, is it an improvement compared to the 6-page PDF we had before? Yeah, obviously. But of course, there is a big the big absence are very noticeable. So the change to devout push was an obvious thing that was going to happen. I mean, it's not. The devout push is still a super great stratagem. It's just a bit differently. It's still extra moves. It allows you to go on to objective off phase. It allows you to change the game. It just does not allow you anymore to attack things that you're not supposed to attack.
Being cheeky.
And that's what leaves because for those that don't know, the devout push before that book used to allow you to pile in out at the beginning of the fight phase, and the pile-in has, of course, to follow the rule of pile-in, so towards the closest enemy model. However, you didn't have to be in engagement range to do this pile-in. It was very specifically stated in the stratagem, and so you could be within 4 inch of an enemy unit, and then you pile in, and suddenly you're within 1 inch, and then suddenly you can fight. And that enemy unit did actually maybe charge something. That means actually they cannot allocate attack to you, or maybe it's something that is very squishy. Like Sue mentioned on the podcast when you had him that I did this trick. Like I pulled away Vanguard vets. I fall back from a combat. You move your all 12 inch of fall back, and then I ended up within 4 inch of his lictor with just 2 guys with claw. What I did is I divide push them 3 inch. I ended up in 1 inch, and then it was his turn. So that means they would in the normal fighting step, I fight first, and his lictor was dead, and he couldn't score his scrambler at the time, I think, and that was it. And that thing, you killing model of my phase on my turn or your turn that I completely didn't expect it left a bad taste in people's mouths, I think. Now you can go on to objective, you can you can move closer to objective, closer to enemy. You get extra moves and stuff. You're not anymore like it's 3-inch. It's not 3-inch boosted by +3 if you have your chaplain litany going on. Like there is more limitation, but it's still very powerful ability. Okay, it's not the most powerful Space Marine ability anymore.
But something I'm gonna miss,
which is fine
because I'm not joking. You said people better bad taste. We had people had any issues with that, but I mean, I was on the receiving end of that Sergeant the first time using it. It's like, oh, you can do that, and then my Terminus are dead now. Great.
Yeah, no, but I understand. Yeah. I understand the bad feeling, and that's also why it was clear that ability had to be rewarded. But the real kicker is that on top of changing this, which was kind of obvious, it's the loss of the advance and charge. Yeah, that is removing a lot of on like in a pinch ability to go to where you need to, especially if you're in a losing position, to catch up to something, or to solidify a very how can I say, unstable winning position. So now that I've talked about what changed for the worst, let's not get the feeling that it's a bad book. It's not by any stretch possible.
Right? It's I don't want to hear any complaining.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not playing that one in my go-to at the moment. Maybe later, but
yeah, I'm still going to ask you a question.
True. Yeah.
Since you're at it, how is it possible?
Sure.
That a guy who died makes you harder to kill now using his bones? Do you explain?
Tenhauser. Well, I mean,
amazing.
Kill me and I'll tell you. I dare you.
Angry chaplain.
Yeah, it's so basically going back to the book. It takes what's already like that. What that book does, it takes already strong unit in the Space Marine Codex. So namely our very friendly Redemptors, Van Vets, Blade Guards, Melter Bikes, and it dialed it up all the way to 11 for resilience purposes. Yes. Those things are becoming really, really hard to shift. You're putting additional layers of defensive tools, which are using different resources to buy or to put onto them, and that's great for list building. That opens up a lot of opportunities. Like, and on top of that, you have you have the flexibilities of the vows, which as you might know, we don't have like other chapters. We don't have super doctrines. No. That's gone altogether. Instead, we have what we call vows. Those vows have a positive, which they have a negative, which is a kind of significant negative, to be honest, in most cases. And they have a positive, which is, to be honest, a very small positive, except for the 90% auto take, which is uphold the honor of the Emperor.
Stupid.
That alone,
BV transhuman.
That alone changes the viability level of so many units in the Space Marine Codex. It's really, really good. But in the long run, I still think we will more often go back to the aforementioned classics.
I see. I'm hoping to see more Crusade lists, and especially now with the new book coming out. And suddenly we know that the meta right now is already shifted to the orcs and their buggies, as we already seen. But I'm looking forward to see what weird combos on the surface, because like I think remember Nick mentioned back in the day, the Australian meta was like, hey, Twitter Macrons, go kill yourself. But now I want to see what's
the Australians couldn't get eradicators, so demons were really strong still because they couldn't get melta weapons.
It's like in real life meta, like the meta is limited by like shipping stuff.
Is the real life
meta? So funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Supply chain. Well, I don't know if you have any questions. I think we covered everything I want to know, at least for the Templars today.
Well, the one thing, sorry to interrupt you, man. The one thing I want to also point out for the new supplement is like, and I hinted at it before. It's the like the different resource, like the possibility to spend different types of resource to get powerful and very tailored buffs to the unit. So namely the relic bearer concept, that is great. So for those that don't know it, it's basically additional unit upgrades you can get to infantry and bikers that are small relics that do small things. So you have extra damage relics. So you have lots of defensive relics. You have the grenade, as you mentioned. And all of them are very flavorful, are very useful, and are very good. And they are really well costed for what they do. And so you just pay army point for this, and then you can also pay CP to put warlord traits, to put additional relics or stratagems onto units.
Oh, no.
So hello, my Blade Guard Sergeant with Champion of the Fist and the Sword of Judgment. No. Yes, come to me, baby. I have 6 attacks, hitting on 2s. I have 4 health. It's and strength 7, -3 damage flat. Save at 2, invulnerable at 4.
Sounds
feel
amazing.
no pain at 5 against mortals. Be a real
sure.
Okay.
Parry this.
I mean, I still have a 2+ anyway, and you cannot wound me on a 2, and I can spend a CP, so you can't wound me on a 3 either.
I was gonna say I have a.
I mean, no. So
I only need one of them to connect.
True.
Well,
I didn't mean to flex or anything, but I'm just highlighting this to show that that's a really powerful thing of the codex, because you have this, have the litanies. So this is all the 4 things. You have the relics, the litanies, the warlord trait, and the relic bearers, and all of that it gives you a lot of choices on top of what's available in the Space Marine Codex, and you can really mix and match to really tailor to what you want to do. You want 3 Redemptors? Sure. You want a bunch of Crusader? It can work, but that can also be viable. It's not going to win you the top LVO table, but you can make very good placing with the appropriate list and upgrades. You want a unit of Assault Terminators that can advance and still shoot all of their flame weapons and bolter. Yeah, you can do that because you have a stratagem to do that. And those guys have a 2+ save base, and then you get the 5+. Like, there is lots of things that were on the edge of being playable, but there were more efficient options for the same doing the same thing for less point or something. And now they become, I wouldn't say they become always viable, but they become considerable. Like you can consider them. I don't think that's the correct word, right. But it's really interesting.
Got it.
So personally, my list haven't changed much in what I'm running. I just added goodies on top of the unit I already had before.
Layers and layers.
Yeah, and it works.
Layers
it works
and layers
well,
and
and we'll see. I still have to face 2 opponents in the league. You included, Luke, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Are you gonna delay me? Are you gonna deny me until the very
Well, I
end?
mean, we already set the day.
Here.
So.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, that feels fairly good. I'm very happy with that new book.
You got a question?
We're missing something very important. Helbrecht, helmet or no helmet?
Oh, helmet, guaranteed. Like, that helmet is on point. Like, the head is fine. Like, his sculpted head is really good. Way better than the original one. But that helmet...
It's good.
Ooh.
Honestly, as, like, I
thought...
100%. When I saw because, like,
helmet.
I'm getting into the game part of the hobby, but I originally started as a painter. And I saw all these new beautiful Black Templar sculpts, and I'm like, I'm just like looking over longingly at these gorgeous centerpiece plastic models, and then I look over at my table and my little pathetic resin Dante, and I'm like, when? Hey,
yeah, well, they are mine.
Anything
you can have it.
Can become a Blood Angels model if I just try hard enough.
Yeah, that's the beauty with Space Marine. I have a lot of I have a... I sanguine, like my Apothecary is actually a sanguinary priest converted
yeah?
with the Holy Grail in his hand. So
I love your servitors. I love you have Robin
yeah,
Hood.
yeah. I have a very
those
knight
are cute.
themed
I love
army.
those.
And
I
I'm
really love
excited
this.
personally
You
to
have to see them,
play
Rachel.
against Templars because
draw.
I highly respect any army that goes hard in melee, because that is where the true glory is found in battle, is in glorious melee combat. So super excited to go up against Templars.
Well,
Great.
come at me.
Have
Great.
at me.
You come and have a D. I think we covered pretty much everything, folks. I think we don't want to delay this more because we're really short on time.
No, I think we're good.
Nick,
So,
you have any questions?
may
Are we good?
Sanguinius, the best hawk boy, watch over your dice this week, and may you make better saves than he did.
Oh, why do you have to be like that? That hurt. I just took a mortal from that.
Remi, thank you very much for joining us
Thank
today.
you for having me.
Seriously, glad to have you here. As usual, it's a pleasure to talk to you in and out of the games. Even though you call us heretics and you want to purge every single one of us on the spot, we appreciate your effort for not doing so most of the time. And thanks for joining us tonight. So with this, we're closing out. So
Good night.
have a good night, everybody.
Cheers for the Emperor.
And Nargle bless.